we might be okay. Check, audio check. Let's see, here's my face. And is the camera going to work? Let's find out here. G'day, Stu from UAVFutures. We finally made it. Welcome to the live stream. Happy flying number 14. Sorry we're a tiny little bit late today. Nothing causes anxiety quite like OBS Studios and trying to get your stream ready. We can see I'm just going to go through a couple of things. Double check. It looks like it's streaming on my end. Please let me know. And also, how's the audio going through? All those sorts of things. Oh, I can see Lad Oz straight off the bat saying we can hear you, and we got Stickman Steve in the chat as well. Big shout out to him. He's saying, come on, Stu. So yes, I have been working, and trust me, this was all ready to go. I've been sitting here waiting. Coffee is ready to rock and roll, but as soon as I clicked that button and it was like 2 minutes, I was like, oh, fantastic. The cameras froze. But we are back. We're going to be talking all things FPV. If you're just tuning in, well, it's basically our weekly catch-up. We hang out, we talk all things FPV. We talk a little bit about mental health as well, and trying to promote the positives around that. We've got some things coming up in the show, which I'm pretty excited about, and we have this bad boy as well. So you would have seen one of my all-time favorite drones, or possibly, if not the most favorite drone I have on my channel, is the Lightning. We've got the Lightning V2, but this is like my edition or some of all the mods I've made. I believe this is going to be the perfect quad, but also I know a lot of people, this is a little bit too small to carry DJI. We're going to be talking about this bad boy in a little bit. So it's from the same guys that make the original Lightning, but we're going to be talking about this one. So that's going to be the Eagle with the DJI inside as well. We'll be talking about that. We need to talk about like broke pilots and people starting FPV when they're broke. And I'm all for getting people flying, but I had a bit of a conversation the other day and I thought, you know what? If a couple of dollars is a stretch, you need some money for repairs. So we're going to be talking about some of those hidden costs, and sometimes you really should save up a little bit more, or where's like the breaking point of should you get into FPV. And that's probably going to be especially important for people if you're thinking about getting drones for Christmas or presents, or you want to start FPV but you're not sure where to go on your journey. That might be a bit of a discussion, a bit of an old timer like myself, some wisdom I might be able to offer. We'll also be answering your questions in the chat as well. And check this out. I'm not the most technical savvy person when it comes to like OBS Studios and streaming and things like that. However, I think I have this working. So if this crashes my computer, I'm really, really sorry. But check this out. We've got, was this button going to work? Hey, it did it. I did a thing. So there we go. So there we go from Happy RC Flyer. Great audio, Stu. So yeah, I'll be able to also have your questions on the screen. If you've got some things you want to chat about, or some things we're talking about, and you've got some comments, put them down there, and then others can read them as well. Because I know a lot of people don't have the chat open on the sidebar, and on some streams have it just sort of rolling in the side. But if you'd like to have your comment on there, just throw something in. We can have a bit of a chat. we'll talk about that. So we're going to be going through that. I need to talk about if I should get a 3D printer. I might need your help a little bit on that as well. Going to be talking about DJI and some of the possible fixes and like the new firmwares that are coming to stop them dropping out of the sky. Tilt quads, you might have seen those popping up a little bit as well because they were around about 7 years ago. And then we have some really, really cool flight videos we're going to talk about and talking about some props and just a whole bunch of FPV stuff. But like I say, each week, it's great to have you here. This is the best part of my working week. Once the stream is set up and running, all that like technical anxiety disappears. I just get to hang out with you guys, talk FPV, talk shop. I love drones. I think you might love drones as well. Or if you don't yet, it is going to be my pleasure to get you into the hobby. All right. Now, let's see. Let me double check on my run sheet right here. So just a little bit of a mental health check-in as well. If you're watching this, no matter where you are in the world, whether you're into FPV or not, I would just like to welcome you to the FPV community. And if you're one of the people out there, it seems to be a more common occurrence, relatively, I would say, in the last couple of years, where sometimes we have some people who suffer from mental health. I myself suffered from some mental health issues in the past, had some really bad depression in the COVID and lockdowns and things like that. And I don't want you to ever feel alone. So if you ever need somebody to talk to, or you just want to reach out, we've got an amazing Discord. The link's going to be down below. You can always send me an email, but I just don't want you to feel like you have to battle through that through yourself. It's not weak to speak. And the best analogy I like to give every week, if you are listening to this and you're thinking, you know what, something's not right, it's the same thing as if you'd broken your leg and you're about to go to the doctors. Well, you'd probably go there if you've broken your arm or your leg. If you've done something to your brain or it's just not working properly, please go see a doctor or a professional as well, because that's one of the greatest things I did that changed my life. And I don't want you to feel like you have to be alone or you have to suffer with that, because this amazing thing of the internet and the FPV community is so kind as well. We can all support each other and make each other's lives a little bit better and our days a little bit better. So if that is you, please reach out. My email is UAVFutures@gmail.com. That's going to be linked down below, as well as the Discord. And if you're just having an awesome time and you're not worried about your mental health and you're absolutely kicking goals, well, I'm just glad to have you as part of the hobby as well and spreading some of that FPV positivity around. Okay, but look at this. We're going to, the first thing, cab off the ranks, the thing we're going to talk about first is my Lightning V2. So I don't know if I'd call it the UAVFutures edition. I don't know if there'd be an actual market for this drone or if other people would be interested in replicating it, but we'll have to see. Let me know what you guys think. So this drone right here, let me jump over, and I'm really hoping, please do not blow up, computer. Like that's, okay, look at that. So this is the Lightning V2. So the original Lightning V1, long story short, one of the all-time best drones I think we have ever had in the hobby. It's like got amazing response. It's quite small. You can fly it anywhere, well, maybe not indoors, but it flies like it is such a good flyer. This would be my #1 drone pick. And when they came out and they did the Lightning V2, it had the digital option, so you could get walk snell straight off the bat, which is what I originally did to my first version, which was typically just analog. Now we have the walk snell version here, and I would say it is pretty close to perfect, but there are a couple of things I would like to change. And thankfully, I've been running some emails back and forth to YMZ FPV. They've taken some of those on board, and this turned up a little bit, and I've done a few extra little mods that I think people might like to hear about. So in this one, you can see we just have like it's showing the analog version here, but it's the same on the digital one. This one just has a standard antenna on here for the video, and the ceramic, it had a little ceramic external receiver. Let's see if we can get that in shot somewhere. So just here, can we zoom in? Just here, the ELRS receiver on the Lightning. Look, it's still an external receiver, which is a plus. I don't like it being all built into this board when you're going to be doing some of the ranges that you can do with this thing. However, what I have right here, which I'm pretty excited about. So I have put in my own, I don't know if this is going to be in focus. Come on, camera. Let's work together here. So you can see I have now a full-sized ELRS antenna up the top right here, which is one of the main things I probably would change straight off the bat. I think they're much more reliable than the ceramic antennas. The other thing you'll notice is a little bit different with mine. We've got some 4-bladed props on here. So this versus the traditional one, where is this? So you can see the difference. We've got the 3-bladed on the screen right there. Versus my 4-bladed props, I just feel like for the amount of cornering and just precision that this little drone has, I don't need more speed. And typically, the less blades you have on a quad, the more speed you're going to have. You're going to get less drag going through the air. But when you've got a little bit more blades and like these quad blade props right here, they're really, really grippy. So this is becoming like my ultimate drone. Now, I can't handle this out of focusness. And then the last thing, there's probably 2 things that I would like to change, or one that I haven't changed so far. If I plug this in, and a little bit of a shout out to Stickman Steve, what's better than flying a drone around by yourself? Well, flying around with friends. And when you are chasing somebody, look at this, we have a tiny little LED in the back as well. So that's quite bright. We've got some clear heat shrink over there, so it disperses the light. It makes it easy to track when you're flying this thing around. So this is almost close to what I would say is like my dream drone. I don't know if we could call it like the Lightning UAVFutures edition. This is sort of how I feel they should sell this drone. This is the upgrades I would recommend them to make. Let me know if in the chat, if that's something you think, if you think these are good ideas. Would you put that out? Would you put that on your drone? The other 2 things we can see, we've got quad. Look at this. I'm going to use my technical skills right here. So we have a really good comment right here. And this is where we're going to need to talk about a 3D printer as well. So he's saying the camera protrudes a long way out of the frame. And you are absolutely correct. And there's 2 schools of thought I have going forward about that. Do we want to have more camera protection that will be like robust and stand up, or do we have, because it's not perfect, I would say there's still a couple little changes I would like, but this is so far the closest drone I've had to perfection. Like, I want to improve this. I want people to be able to fly a drone like, man, that is absolutely amazing. But you will see the camera protection sticks out the front a little bit. And the other part that I would also like to change is some of these like internals. I understand we need a little bit of cooling in those things, but I would like to see them possibly protected a little bit more. So we need to get like some 3D printing. And I would like to just have like maybe the outside quarter of the frame here. Like, see how this little, this is quite technical. So you guys can help me here. So you can see this tiny little TPU mount, which is holding on my receiver right here. It's this sort of bar that goes across the top. I would love that just to be, this is really hard to do backwards. I need something. Here we go, I've got the perfect thing. Let me know what you think, but I would love this little TPU piece to sort of extend just over the corners just here, and like almost like a little stack protector that went across the top, but also had some slits across the very front of it to let some airflow in, because we definitely need some airflow, so we don't want that VTX to get cooked. But I think then that would protect the internals pretty well, like maybe like a soft TPU mount that went around the outside. And then the other part, like Quad Dork was saying, the camera protection. And I don't know, do we build like a TPU mount out the front, or because you can't really recess it back very much more. There's not too much room in this frame, especially when you're putting on some camera tilt. Or there's 2 schools of thought. Let me know which one you think is best. You build like some TPU sort of buffer that's sort of protecting the camera in a hard crash so it can absorb all that impact and sort of transfer that to the frame. Or the other option, because we've got these 2 little screw holes on the outside of the camera right here, do we just have like a crumple zone? I was thinking almost like just some extruded pieces of plastic that extrude that are designed to break. That'd be a really simple, easy print. You could get like 10 of them in a pack. And then that way it's like the bumper of a car. So if you crashed into a tree, that's going to crumple and break and snap and take a lot of that impact before it hits your camera or before it hits your frame or motors and those things. So let me know, what do you think? But we are getting close to basically having what I would say the perfect drone for my flights. It's fun to fly anywhere besides indoors. It's a little bit too fast. It feels like a 5-inch. It's great to fly with friends. It's rocking around in digital. It's really grippy. You can chase it with an LED. We now have a full-size antenna in there. So we're getting pretty close. So I don't know, what do you think is better? If there's any additions that I'm missing to making this become the perfect drone, or the UAVFutures edition. I'm just calling it the UAVFutures edition. I don't think there's no official partnerships or anything like that. But please let me know. So Johnny D, I see you saying, Stu, it needs to be 3S. So yeah, I don't know about that. Hey, look, I haven't fixed this up perfectly. It looks like it's coming on it's like mirrored on the back side of the screen there. I don't know what's going on with that. And Chris Croft is saying, I think I killed the ESC on my Lightning V2. Man, can you guys hear that in the background? I think one of the chickens is like going crazy. Must be laying an egg somewhere around here. All right, so how can you tell if you killed an ESC? It's either, what do you mean you think you killed an ESC on your Lightning? Because what's happening if you plug that into Betaflight, there's a modes tab there. You can simply slide that up and down. Not a modes tab, a motors tab. Of course, take your props off. Always take your props off before you are plugging in a drone into the computer. And then, yeah, slide it up and down. What's happening? Give me a bit of feedback, and we might be able to see if we can fix that issue for you. And Lad Oz, sorry for that. He's saying, I reckon they need to make the metal frame stick out a bit further to protect the cam. Otherwise, a TPU mount would be a last resort. Okay, well, it's pretty easy to like bolt that on. Looking at this picture just here. So even if you bolt it on like an aluminium protector or something on the outside, I don't think you need to redesign this whole frame or anything like that to make the Lightning better. I agree. I would like some better camera protection, and Stickman Steve has like, I've smashed mine into a lot of things and I did break one arm, and Stickman Steve had, I would just say, like a mid-level crash, and he chipped the top of his camera just here. It still works perfectly fine, but a little bit better camera protection I think is a bit of a must if we were going to make this perfect. All right. Oh, and now I'm getting sidetracked myself. So the part I did want to talk about, then I hear people saying, what about DJI? So if you are flying around on DJI, a lot of people like DJI, but of course it's just not really conceivable to pack down what the DJI, like the O3 Air unit, is doing. So then they came out with this bad boy. So this is the Eagle, or the Eagle One. This is a bit of a pre-review we've got going right here. And look, I haven't flown this yet. This only turned up, I think it was yesterday or the day before, but it's pretty exciting stuff. It's a little bit bigger. It's a little bit heavier. I would say it's going to be a little bit more menacing on first impressions, just cruising this thing around. I do like that. It looks like they're taking on board, like they're using a proper receiver, so no little ceramic antennas or anything like that. Really nice frame. I think YMZ is doing some really, really cool stuff in FPV. So the Eagle One with the Lightning is going to be an interesting comparison, especially compared to something like this, and how much weight difference between the two, like, and actually in the air and what it feels like. That's going to be really, really interesting. I think this is about as small as you can get if you want to cruise around DJI and do digital. Any smaller than this, the air unit is just way too heavy. And that's probably one of the big limitations I think DJI has. A lot of DJI people won't like me saying that. They don't like criticism of some of the things we mention about them. And you can let me know in the chat. And I am in no way, shape or form do I really have like I just want one company to succeed, or I only love this. I like all brands, and I think the more brands and the more support and the more competition we have as consumers in FPV, like that is the good thing. So I want DJI to succeed, but I also want CADX to succeed. I want HD0 to succeed. I want IPC to, come out of the gate swinging and make some really, really cool stuff, because that's going to be better for us all. It's going to lower prices. It's going to increase competition. It is just good for us FPV consumers. So yeah, the DJI Lightning, or the Eagle, I should say, it is a 2-inch. It's going to be very, very interesting to fly this around. We'll do some direct comparisons and show you what the footage is like. We'll try and get Stickman Steve on the sticks as well if he ever stops fishing and actually comes flying and stops going camping. But yeah, I can't wait to fly this one. This should be out, I would say within the week. We'll be doing that. So that's pretty exciting stuff there. So if you're into DJI and you're looking for a small form factor that absolutely screams, I think based on my impressions and what I know about drones, that's going to be about as close as you can get to what I consider almost the holy grail of drones, or the perfect little flying experience. And that's why I like CADX as well, because they do that really, really small little external air unit, and I think they have good enough video, not quite as good as DJI, And also if you're into HD0, they're doing some amazing stuff as well that I would love to get more into HD0. So I don't know if anyone actually knows who the HD0 people are. I don't really have a HD0 contact. I would love to do some reviews and promote some of the things that HD0 is doing, because on the racing front and like the tiny whoop side of things and just getting them into that really, really small form factor is a big, big plus for me. All right. Johnny DRC is saying, I just ordered a new Walksnail VTX for my 4-inch 6S Skyhopper. So which VTX was that? Don't know if that was like the Moonlight cam there, or was it a GT cam? I don't know if you guys can appreciate my mug here as well. A little bit of auto scan. And I got to say, there's a bit of a strange story. I don't know where, like, I know where this mug originally came from, and I don't know if it has gone halfway around the world and come back, because about 3 years ago, there was a lot of stuff we were sending out in live streams, and there's still some packages that have like, this was not declared by customs, or this was not picked up. I think we've got some there still from the UK that the UK has sent back to me, and they're like, this person never accepted their package. So if that is you, if you're watching this from the UK and you're like, hey Stu, I never got my package, well, you never went to customs to pick that up. I don't know though if this cup was ever in one of those packages, because I did a big massive sort of clean out and I was like, oh, there's an auto scan cup, what is that doing here? So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. And of course I should give a shout out to Phaser FPV as well, because they sent me some coffee beans and said, hey, enjoy some coffee on your stream. And you know, it is Monday morning here. All right, let's have a look here. Chris Croft is, he is saying, this is about, so his broken ESC and his Lightning is saying, just one motor just twitches. I need to do some testing, but I've not had the time. Had time to was motors to test. I would say, I think what you're trying to say there, because I understand it's hard to fit those like comments into the 200 characters you get in YouTube. So if one motor is just twitching, I think you're in luck. There is a really easy solution. So one of the limitations of what we've got on the Lightning quad is, oh, this is even better. We can have a look at it on this picture right here. One of these limitations is we have these little motor plugs right here. I don't think your ESC is broken, so that's the good news. And these make it really easy for swapping out a motor. I don't mind them. I don't think they're as robust as, say, just direct soldering. Direct soldering is usually the way to go. On a little quad like this, it doesn't actually bother me that much. It makes more sense if you've got removable arms as well. So if you broke an arm and you needed to replace the arm and the motor, fair enough. This just kind of makes it easy for maybe, I actually don't know why they're soldering these on. I would prefer direct solder. Yes, I think that would be better. What you need to double check, because this has happened to me on some quads, not on my Lightning, but from memory anyway, I've flown it an awful lot, but on some others, just press these in a little bit more on whatever motor is twitching. Make sure you take the props off. So if it is just twitching, chances are one of these little wires here is not connected correctly, or it's not making contact with the rest of the board or the rest of the ESC. So it's not getting any voltage. So only 2 poles on the motor actually getting some voltage, and you need all 3 of those to basically be working as your motor should, in for it to spin around. So I think your ESC is going to be fine. Plug it into Betaflight, but also make sure that this is like pressed in correctly. And also if the plug is incorrectly, make sure these little pins are in the back of the quad. And if that still doesn't work, before you decide to throw it out, because look, this is an all-in-one, my recommendation would be, if you're like, oh, this is cooked, I need to get a whole new board now. Great, there goes my OSD, and there goes my flight controller and 3 other ESCs. My recommendation would be do a direct solder. So if you've plugged it in and you can't get any sort of response other than twitching, take these 3 wires out. Let's pretend it's this motor here. Snip them, extend them a little bit, and then it doesn't matter. This is for diagnostic processes. You can refine this down once it's done, and I'm sure other people have some questions and tips as well if you're getting a stuttering ESC. But then just direct solder it to these 3 pads right here and see if that fixes it. If you are still getting twitching after all this and you've tried direct soldering it, well then yeah, okay, your ESC is broken. But I would hazard a guess in my experience and wisdom that that's where your drone's running into issues right there. So hopefully that's going to help you there, Chris. Let me know. Please report back. Jumping over here. Let's see. We have so just catching up on the chat a little bit. I'm in Brisbane. Oh, are you? Man, we can fix this. Wait. Is this? Oh man, I am getting some. Wait, Chris, did we already have some emails about this? Have I already emailed you? Chris is now emailing me, telling me about HD0. Is this where Chris could be one of my Patreons, possibly? I think. I also have another. I need to check if we've already gone through. Please let me know in the chat here, Chris. Well, look, I'm happy to help anybody, and if you want to get into FPV, you've got any questions, it is my absolute pleasure, 100%. I love this hobby. I love getting people flying, and if I've just been helping here, Chris, and it actually is the same person that I've been emailing, and he's a patron, that's like double thumbs up. So here, let me know there, please, in the chat. But Chris is saying, yes, I'm in Brisbane. I need to just catching up here. I'm in Brisbane, and HD0 goggles also if you want to try them. 100%, man. That's like the city that I'm in. Well, I'm a little bit more rural, but I would love to catch up. So maybe we can organize a time. Send me an email, UAVFutures@gmail.com, and we'll figure something out. Because it would be amazing to catch up. And if you have a broken Lightning, I will help you fix it. Let's see if we can diagnose that and get to the bottom, because that's like, it's great to help people, over the internet. If you can meet up with like people in the community and go for a flight and just hang out, I think that's a double thumbs up. Okay, we've got Clint is saying, I can just put these on the screen for you guys to read as well. I really like 4-inch frames, but they seem to be the least made size. Can you recommend a 4-inch frame, freestyle or racing? It doesn't matter. Okay. I can. I'm going to do something a little bit experimental here. So, because you guys might know, I'm building a website, DIY FPV. This is going to be perfect for you when we log in here. It just depends how many products that we've run through the test sync, because this site, it has like tens of thousands of products we are putting into the database, but we have to like retool and reconfigure it a lot of times, so we don't do all those products at once. Like, we just do like a set little amount that we can run some tests on and see what changes. So let's have a look if there is some synced at the moment. Let's see how we go right here. This is like a live test too. I don't know if this is, so you guys don't have access to this, but you will soon. So this is a perfect example of why I know that this site's going to help some. So we've only synced 100 frames at the moment. Okay, well, look, that one, it didn't help because the only thing we had in our mini category, this is how it whoops minis 5 inches. It depends. What do you want to fly it for? Oh, look at that. I've only got one 5-inch frame in my test product at the moment. Oh, okay, all right. So probably not the best live test to run that on. What would you like to fly? You need to pick one. You need to tell me racing, freestyle. I would say you are more likely going to find a freestyle frame, because racing in that category is not where it's at. Like, a racing frame is going to be like 5-inch or whoop, and that's where they really refine it into that one part of craft. For a 4-inch freestyle frame, I think like there's the Source One. I think they've got, it depends how much you want to spend as well, or what sort of designs. One let's see, is it Sabotage RC? Let's have a look right here. I'm sure heaps of, even like Phaser FPV. Let's have a look here. FPV. 4-inch is a bit of a, it's gone out of fashion as well. If you've got some great 4-inch, please throw them down. Okay, so we've got Impulse RC has a micro apex, a 3-inch and 4-inch. Where are we? Jumping over here to screen share, quads, frame kits. Look at this. This is a Phaser FPV. Okay. It looks like there's no 4-inch frame kits right there. You might be right here. All right. let's have a look at, oh, there's a little micro vacuum. I was looking at some 3D filament stuff here. What about, are you in the States as well? Get FPV. Clint, I can see your comment right there. Absolutely, my friend. Please send me an email. There's a bit of a dev team working on it. It's very, very exciting stuff. But I'll talk about that. Let me focus on this question. Here we go. 4-inch quad frames. That is about as cheap as you can get. If I was going to, oh, the Valador. There we go. I know what we're going to get. That's from Flyfish. Here we go. Okay. Let's have a look here. This is a 5-inch, but I'm sure that they have some 4-inch frames. We just got to find them. Five-inch. What is this? 4LR. Look, I really like these this company, Flyfish, anyway. Here we go. A 4-inch new frame. 55 grams. It looks like it's sort of it's a dead cat style, so you're not going to have the props in view. But I think I can vouch for Flyfish. Like, I can't vouch for this frame. I haven't flown this one. But this is Flyfish and the Valador, which is their original one. The Valador V2, I should say, is what I used in my current UAVFutures, like a premium build. They're a great frame. I really like the Valador. That's why I chose it. It's got some great TPU mounts. It's been my most reliable test rig. It's taken an absolute beating. So I like flying that. It's like the one I sync up to different radios and just doing a bit of testing on. It's a really good one. So if you are looking for a 4-inch, I would probably say, can I put this in the chat? Let's see. Here we go. We'll put that in there. And Sarah's saying, I've got a 3-inch Valador and it's fire. So there we go. That's coming in from Sour Sham as well. Okay, Clint is saying, I'm about to design my own, but time is short. I have a CNC and other toys. Okay, man, that's just getting spoiled there. That's where you get to have a lot of fun designing some really, really cool things. That's probably where I'm going to move in. We're going to talk about tilt rotor quads. So I saw this a little bit. This is probably something that came around 7 years ago. And it's interesting to see the comments. So if you're into FPV, let me get rid of this chat on the screen. Where is this? All right. So if you're jumping into FPV now, you might see some people talking about like tilt rotor quads, but do you know they were actually here around 7 years ago? So this came up, this was on Reddit the other day. It was one of the top posts right here. And it was really interesting to see what people were saying about it. So this is a tilt rotor quad. It looks like a premium design. Like whoever's made this has really put some thought and refinement into it. Most of them look like you've emptied a bucket of components out on a table and stuck it together with hot glue. This is a good looking tilt rotor quad, but this is not a new concept. And we're going to be talking about what is the most efficient concept and why is it that nowadays most drones generally look like this. Now, I do have a little bit of experience with flying some of these things around. They do offer some unique benefits that we don't often see. You can see, let me get this on the screen. I think it's my YouTube video. I'm just getting an ad, so I'm not going to play that. So I'm just going to wait till that's done. Actually, I did get a copyright strike the other day. So check this out. So this is mine. This is coming in from 8 years ago. Okay. And so this is the tilt rotor quad. I can't even remember who created this, but you can see right here, given a little example of some things that it can do. It was a really interesting concept at the time. Here's, ignore this person. This is probably somebody who, this is pre-kids, pre-COVID, like healthy Stuart, rather than dad bod Stuart. It's almost depressing looking at yourself in younger years. Oh my gosh. All right, let's have a look here. So it was really hard to fit all the components in here. And one of the things that, let's see how it actually flies here. I can remember flying this and where it was and things. One of the things I didn't like is sort of knowing where your arms were. Like, I am so used to the camera angle flying around that this was tricky to sort of determine how much speed you have and the angle of your craft, because you were constantly moving. It always sort of stayed at like a horizon level. Can I pause this on a picture right here? What's going on? There we go. Yeah. But the biggest reason why I don't like something like this is just the amount of internals that you need. It's like extremely inefficient, and I feel like it's going to break more. So these, like, you need to have some servos and some little things working together. It is harder to mount motors to the arms when they're on like this sort of, I don't know, like a tube arm and those things. And I think that's what the comments were saying as well. Like, oh yay, some innovation. But yeah, there's no payloads. What do we got here? What? Something different? There's still creativity in the drone space. Like, no, well, these things have been done before. It's just we don't do them anymore because they're generally like a less efficient way of doing things. So I'm all for innovation and all for making more interesting ways of flying. It's just that's not it. And it's almost the same when it comes to cars. Like, if you look at a car nowadays, they look so similar. Every other car, it follows some basic, basic rules. We put the seats here. It's got 4 wheels. This is how it works. And generally the same can be sort of said for quads. The longer a hobby has been around, or the longer an industry has been around, the refinements become less and less, and it's no more like firing out wild ideas, because this is what works. We can refine this and you can make little changes, but there's no drastic, crazy idea as of yet that has been made that's going to fix FPV and drones. Like this frame here, it's about as simple and efficient as it gets. That's why we've got 4 motors. It's like the most cost-effective way of doing things. You don't need servos in there when it comes to like having a tricopter, because tricopters used to be around as well. Let me know if you're old enough to remember what a tricopter was like, or if you've ever flown one. But frame design, it's like cars. It might change a little bit, but it's never going to be absolutely insanely different. I would say the one time when we're going to see frame revolution, or the biggest change in frames, and this is just my opinion, is we have this I think four motors is always going to be there, and you have a bit of an elongated shape at the moment. However, that is probably the part that's going to change. There's room for aerodynamics and changing. And as those components really, really shrink down, this massive top canopy, you're going to start seeing the components getting smaller and smaller. Like, already we've got digital in this tiny little form factor. And if we don't need all that on the top, you can then probably start looking at aerodynamics. But you got to remember too, a quad most of the time is going almost through the air on a 45-degree angle. So it's not about having a streamlined front end. It's about sort of having that broad side a little bit better through the air. And if you can reduce that cross section, reduce that drag, you're probably going to get some efficiencies. And then the other part too to remember is we're a small part of a larger industry. So drones, I would say, prioritize like flight times and camera holding platforms, and the FPV side of things, and actually doing freestyle and acro and racing and FPV like fun in the field. That's like a very, very small niche part of this industry. So our innovation is probably going to come at the cost of taking care of those other things first. All right, let's just catch up on the chat. Let me know if I have missed something. Feel free to post something twice if you've got a really, really important question. Let's see. If you want a micro racer, take a look at the Foxeer Caesar racing style quad. I love my 3-inch version with overpowered motors. And let's see. Tiki's saying, I just bought a 5-inch when I saw some other people getting back into 3 to 5 inches. And my advice right here for this, where are we, is if this is you, don't worry about what other people are flying. Like, just fly around what you think is fun. I can almost guarantee that if I took this to a meetup, to an event, some people might roll their nose at it. Long range guy is going to be like, that's not what I want to fly. You're going to see some people who are, I don't know, into just 5-inch freestyling and carrying a GoPro. Go for it, man. Like, that's what it's about. Go, if you enjoy doing that, that's fine. But this little micro drone, it does everything that I want. Even if it's not cool or not fashionable, don't worry about what other people think. Life's way too short for that. So if you've got a little micro racer, you're gonna have a good time. We've got other people running Clean Flight, which is insanely old. Okay. Yeah. With the CC3D flight controller, oops, just aged myself. And Fancy Picker is saying, I mainly fly a 3.5 inch due to my airspace size, tight with a lot of trees. Oh, okay, so not like a regulation size. Just, yeah, that's probably one of my favorite things too about this size. It's so easy to fly. If you're watching this and you don't have you don't have like a smaller drone and you don't have big open fields to fly around all the time, it's so easy to fly this little bad boy and still get that rush, like that FPV feeling. It's almost like, you know how whoops are perfectly suited to indoor flying? The same thing is sort of with those Lightnings, with like small yards, little parks, playgrounds, maybe not big open massive fields. Like, you can go faster with a larger quad, but they're doing everything that I want. All right, I am getting well distracted. I'm just looking here. I've already 10:45, and there's still heaps of stuff that I want to talk about. So this one, I'm going to say this is not going to be popular, but don't start FPV if you are broke. If you're thinking about getting into FPV, you need to think again with your finances and just how broke are you, or how much can you afford? Because I got a comment a little while ago. It was on my Discord. I'll put a picture on the screen, and it was talking about this radio. And so this was my recent review or breakdown build, whatever you want to call it, of the Pocket Radio, which is the all-time greatest value radio as far as I'm concerned that's ever been in the hobby. It's like $65. I've flown the standard version for a long time, and the upgraded gimbals, which look, I'm lucky enough to have, they're $60 as well. Put them in, basically the same price as the radio. It's heaven for me. It does everything that I need it to do. But I got a comment that said, Stuart, I'm a bit conflicted. I don't know how to feel. You're telling people to go out and spend like premium stuff on there as a beginner, as a gimbal here, the $60 gimbals, which look, I'm not saying don't get that if you're a beginner, or do they get stuck with the absolute minimum quality that there is? And I have to say, this isn't a minimum quality radio. The Radio Master Pocket and the standard gimbals that come with it are absolutely stellar. And if you are getting into the hobby and $60 is the make or break part, and I can't believe I'm saying this, this is where I tell people, don't come into the hobby. Like, do not get into the hobby if $60 is all you can spare in terms of enjoying the skies or not enjoying the skies. There's far more priorities you need to take care of, because people forget at the start, and that was a really good comment as well, at the start, it is like 70 or 60, 70% crashing. You're going to be doing a lot of crashing. You need to have a small buffer on how to fix your quads. You know, maybe you break an arm, you break a motor. Like I broke my Lightning quad that I keep talking about the other day. I broke one of the arms on that, so I had to order a new frame in. And those little parts are going to happen. You're going to need to have like spare props you're going to go through all the time. You might lose an antenna. You might need to buy a couple of pairs of batteries after a while. So you need to have a small amount of buffer in terms of your finances. And if $60 is where it makes or breaks it for you, I'm just going to save you the heartache right now. It's not that I don't want you in the hobby. It's not that I don't want you to enjoy FPV. You just are going to set yourself up for heartbreak. And I'm trying to save you from that if you don't have those little, just those funds to do a bit of a repair job or get a couple of spares and those things. So look, someone's saying buying the wrong part. Yeah, I think if with $60, if that's it, you might be buying the wrong thing. But also too, there's nothing wrong with the standard Pocket radio. It is not minimum quality. Hopefully that didn't come through in the video at all. It's great. I love it. I just happen to like these gimbals more. And I said it's a win-win. You can either use the standard ones and have an awesome time, or if you love the pocket radio and you want to upgrade and get the CNC version, it's also a win for people like me who want to fly that around. Every day with Bruno is saying, I'm pretty broke, but I bought used stuff mostly and learning to fix stuff as I go. Yes, that's I think there is definitely a huge market when it comes to used FPV products. Goggles, I would say, are pretty good if you can check them out, especially if you can check them out beforehand. Things like radios. The part that I would not recommend people to be a little bit more conservative when purchasing is the actual drone itself, because that's the part that's been absolutely ripped around and flown and crashed and smashed and repaired and resoldered and new parts put in. So it's going to be more work getting a secondhand drone than it is like secondhand radios or goggles or anything like that. And then also, a lot of times, if it's using like old flight controllers and old firmwares, maybe it's not compatible with current day stuff. So make sure, I would recommend ELRS. Make sure if you're buying secondhand or TBS, so if you're going to be using, make sure it's ELRS or Crossfire. Preferably, I think ELRS is the most popular, but that would be my 2 cents. Let's see, practice on a sim, always good advice. Fancy Picker is saying the pocket is super solid. I can push through about 3 acres of woods before it bumps the ELS power up to 25 milliwatts, and it runs 250 max. Yeah, I've never had any range issues on mine. The only time I ever got a failsafe was when it ripped an antenna out, and that was nothing to do with the radio. Like, ripped the antenna off the back of the quad. And Anthony is saying, I bought the wrong part a few times thinking I'll use it one day. Yeah, don't just buy what you need at the time. Don't buy a whole bunch of spares thinking this will be great. Just from someone who's done that a lot, just wait until you need that part and then order it in, because chances are, and I'm sure people agree in the chat too, you now have like 18 motors sitting in the cupboard that are like, I'll get some spares for this. I'll build a whole new quad for this. I'll do this. And then, before you know it, you've got a lot of stuff your wife is telling you, can we clean some of this stuff up, please? All right, moving on. I want to talk about DJI and are they fixed? So this is from Mads Tech, and he has been doing a whole bunch of research and emails and posts about the DJI, so the O3 Air units. And what was happening is they were dropping out when they were connecting to some goggles, and there's a bit of a firmware update. So that was with the new goggles, the O3 Air unit, and I think it was the goggles 2. I don't want to say the wrong one, so I'll put something on the screen because I don't want to spread the wrong misinformation. But when I was watching his stream this morning, it looks like, and he wasn't making a solid commitment, but it looks like if you are flying around with that DJI issue, it will be getting fixed in some future updates. So it looks like they've possibly addressed that. They've made like a beta firmware, and I think he's done some tests in the background on try to get that signal lock, because what was happening, you were just, once it lost that connection, it was never reconnecting, so people were just losing their drone. So it sounds like maybe if you're a DJI pilot, that's a good thing. The problem is, I wish DJI just sort of gave a bit of an email out or said, hey, look, we're having some issues, or there was a bit more open, what do you call it when a company is like more open with their consumers, or like gave them some warning, rather than pretending everything is fine and sweeping it under the rug, because it's actually kind of dangerous, especially because a lot of DJI pilots use these not for just freestyle or not for just flying in the fields. They're using them for work and some other things. So yeah, that's one thing that I'm happy for the DJI pilots out there. I just wish DJI would have done a bit of a better job. But we'll have to see too. Like, that's all, like, it's unofficial yet, but it sounds like it might be getting fixed. Fancy Pickers saying, I've seen reports on the DJI forum that the firmware has sorted the issue. So yeah, there we go. Thumbs up. And I'm going to say number 1 fan. He's saying, hope you're well, Stu. Love the content. Absolutely my pleasure, my friend. Thanks for stopping in. We do this week in, week out. If you just tuned in, this is like the Happy Flying live stream where I answer your questions. We just hang out. It's the best part of my working week. I can see we're getting some, I would call them locals or family members in here as well. So a big shout out to all the people who tune in each week, and we just hang out, talk FPV, talk a little bit about positive mental health as well. So no matter where you are in the world, I'm happy that you're here. And I want to say that you're valued. We're going to be talking about some FPV in just a little bit as well. But I want to say, yeah, just thanks for being here. You're special. You might be thinking, Stu's not talking to me. He's just rambling at the camera. But I am. I don't actually know you, but I hope you have an amazing day, and I want to say that you are valued. I truly mean that, so thank you. And I know in that little part in the back of your mind, you're thinking, oh, he might be talking to me. Yeah, you're right. If you're smiling, listening to this, I am talking to you. Okay. Move and transparent. Yes, I wish DJI was more transparent with their consumer base because it's irresponsible in my opinion. And look, I have no relationships with DJI. I can't even get DJI to answer an email. So yeah, good luck to anybody who can do that. I don't know how. I would love to review their stuff. They just do not want a bar of what I would like to say, especially because when DJI first came out, I made a video, and I think like I did have an email contact a long time ago, but then I made an email when digital FPV came out, and all I said was, this is great, but let's be mindful of one company owning the proprietary rights and owning the entire digital space is not good for us consumers in the FPV hobby. And then since there, it was like, oh yeah, we're not. I feel like since I made that video and warning about one company owning the entire airspace and everybody just being on the DJI bandwagon is not good for the hobby, it didn't go well in terms of our correspondence after that. Zane is saying, this is why I found it so hard to go DJI. I should I have gone walk snail, or have I gone the wrong parts? Well, it depends. Like if you've got, I want to make this clear too. If you've got DJI and you're enjoying it, that's fantastic. Like that's what it's all about. It's not about being the same as everybody else and flying around all the other parts. If you are a DJI pilot, you're having a great time. It does everything that you want it to do. You're not losing your drone to dropouts. You know, it's great. It does what it says on the box. They're incredibly well-refined parts. I believe they have, in my opinion, the best picture out there. They do some really, really cool things. I think the company does some far more shady things in the background, which I'm not a fan of. But look, I understand they're a business as well, and I don't know. It's just I can't blame them when you're like $1 billion or whatever, however large their turnover is and things like that. I don't know what I would know about that. One thing, when you're talking about should I go CADX, I'm not saying CADX is perfect. I feel like I wrote CADX like a scathing email, or such a critical email. And I said, look, I love what you're doing. I love what you're bringing to the hobby, but you just got to fix like this, not transparency so much, but like this communication and being in touch with what the community wants and responding. So rather than just reading, actually getting back to us and talking to the community and being involved in the community. And I feel like CADX is getting better at that. They make some really cool products as well, and I think they've got great picture. Like CADX is probably my system of choice. I really like it. And then you've got places like HD0, which I feel are, on the video side, the inferior product, but they are so in touch with the community. They are designing some things and really making what we want as consumers, like easy to work at races, easy to integrate with analog. So HD0 is also doing some really, really good things in terms of the community. And then of course we get things like IPC, which I do need to do a little bit more testing with. I know it's been here for a little while. Sorry about that, Emacs. But yeah. Oh, I got a phone. Emacs sent a phone with that package. So I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that. I don't know if that was supposed to be in there. It's a little bit weird. It's all in, I did turn it on. It was all in Chinese. I couldn't really understand what it was saying. Okay. And there's also nothing wrong with flying analog. Absolutely. I still have a few analog quads. That's from Fancy Picker as well, and Johnny DRC. Kids are saying, hey, sorry I'm late. I was flying in the Wootopia pop-up Velocidrone event. So that's from Kiz. How did you go? Let me know. Okay. I would like to show you one little video because I'm just conscious of the time right here. And let's see. This is a great video. We're gonna end on two things. So one is like a little bit of disappointment, and then I need to show you a pilot, which is I 100% agree. I can almost guarantee that you'll be impressed by this next pilot I'm about to show you. So let me just see this one first. This is not the one you're going to be impressed by, but you will enjoy watching this. So we're about to watch this awesome hand launch. Let me get this onto the screen. I'm not sure if I've showed this one before. So we've got right here, Please don't break, camera. It's been going really well so far, so good job, computer. Okay, so we have right here, I don't know which country this is in, but it looks like this. Check this out. So this is someone going to hand launch their quad, which I never recommend. I mean, I don't think it's not cool. I would just see it as dangerous, but maybe that's just the old man. Have a guess what you think is going to happen. Put that in the chat. Is there going to be an injury? Is the quad going to fly away? What's going to happen? I'll give you 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. All right, check this out. I find this interesting. I don't know what it is about the hands on the hips. I think that's the best part of the whole video, just this guy's face and how sad he looks, or just like fed up with it. And look at this cool launch. Oh, it's my favorite FPV video I've seen. Oh, I'm going to say second favorite one I've seen today, because I saw this really cool one and I was watching this earlier. Let me put this on the screen as well. This is amazing, and one of the reasons why I love our hobby. This pilot right here. So this is a Russian pilot. I don't know how to pronounce any of this. I think he's called One Left. And I believe it's because, I think his name is because he can only use his left hand. I'm not going to make any assumptions. But if you are somebody with a disability, and FPV is amazing. I've seen people who, you know, they're not the most mobile people to walk around, and FPV to give that sensation of actually flying and moving and is incredible. But this gentleman right here, I wish I knew his name, so I don't. I can't read any of this, but let's give this a bit of a thumbs up. It's only had 99 views, but this was really, really, I thought, inspirational. So I need to get my face out of the way here. What about, how can I do this? I'm going to spoil this whole video. Let me see if I can get my face out of the way. Is it this? No, this. There we go. Okay, so he's talking about his quad. Check this out though, and you notice he's only using his left hand. Here we go. And I don't know if I think I have the audio muted because I did get a copyright strike the other day. So not a strike, but a bit of a warning from YouTube. But this dude is doing some better freestyle than I am, and he's using one hand. So I think it's really inspirational in terms of like what pilots can do and how humans can overcome barriers and to be able to experience the joys of flight. And if anybody out there had have said you could do this stuff like with only using your left hand, I would not believe them. Then this dude's doing a trippy spin better than I can do on the sim. Like, that's amazing in a low ground situation. Like, that's really, really good control. And this dude's only using like two fingers on the sticks. So yeah, I thought this was amazing. Let me know what you think in the chat as well. But he's a big inspiration, a big thumbs up. I don't know if anybody knows who this is. I should put the I'll put it in chat as well after this, so go check this out. I don't even know what that says up the top. Sorry about that. But yeah, just a really, really cool pilot that I thought is doing some things that maybe some other people might like to see. So if you know somebody who would benefit from FPV and you think, oh, but they can't use their hands correctly or they've got some issues, here's a bit of inspiration to maybe you can send them this and they can get into the hobby as well. He's called One Left is what I have in YouTube, but it is written with like one ONE numeral 1 EFT. So all right, I'm going to put this in the chat as well. There we go. So yeah, really, really cool. People saying amazing skills. There we go. He's got trippy spins, rewinds, and he's one-handed. I quit. That dude should be on Ripley's, believe it or not. So yeah, very, very cool stuff. Kiz is saying he came 10th in his race as well, 10th out of 16. And considering we had people like Neon in the race, I'd say it was a great success. All right, thumbs up. And Kiz is saying he knows one left. Okay, I don't know. Do you know him personally? Or yeah, just send him a message or something saying, hey, I saw you on Stu's stream right there. Okay, jumping over here. I want to say maybe we'll talk about 3D printers next week. I'm just looking at the times. So I want to get focused on some other videos and things as well. Johnny DRC is saying I have cerebral palsy. Not as bad as this guy though, UAVFutures, and I only have one good hand. Okay, how's your flying there, Johnny DRC? And how does, would you say FPV is like has a positive impact on your life? FPV doesn't have a positive impact on people's wallets though, unfortunately. It's a bit of an addiction. Patriot First is saying Bamboo Lab for printers is going to be what you want. I want something that just works easily with the least amount of tinkering, please, because I'm happy to tinker around like creating something, but in terms of like, this is sounding so hypocritical, tuning it and struggling with some other ones like that are about 8 years old. It was always annoying. I just wanted to be like, hey, print me this, please, without going through a whole bunch of nightmares. So, you know, I'm happy with a little bit of tinkering, but not every single time, depending on what print I want to do and that sort of stuff. My current one is, yeah, it's like in pieces, broken. But maybe we can talk about that next week. Yeah, I just want to say thanks for tuning in to the Happy Flying stream. It's been awesome. You guys are awesome. I want to catch up and see. I was meant to. Who was in the chat that was talking about HD0 goggles? And Chris Croft. Okay, so Chris, if you're still watching this, I was trying to work out how to contact you. Okay, so UAVFutures@gmail.com. If you're still watching this, Chris, I might be able to send you an email or something. It's also on my about page as well. But yeah, that'd be great if we could meet up. If you're in Brizzy, we can meet up for a fly. Check out your HD0 goggles. I'd be definitely interested to see how they go, because it's something that I think HD0 is an amazing product. I would just like to, and I want to tell people about it. I just need to learn more about it. I don't want to spread any misinformation or misconceptions or anything like that. It's all about getting people the right information to make the right purchases. Yep, there we go. I'll email you shortly. Legend, brother. Can't wait. Other than that, subscribe for more FPV related content. I hope you guys have an amazing day. Like I mentioned, yes, I'm talking to you right now with this sound going into your ears, that little smile that's sort of turning in the side of your cheeks, and you think, yeah, Stu is talking to me because you are special. I value you. Thank you for being here. You're an amazing person, and it's great to have you as part of the FPV community. So thank you for tuning into the stream. You deserve to have an amazing day, and you're valued. Everything else aside, I want you to know that you're valued and the world's a better place because you're here. Yeah, I am talking to you. You're not thinking, oh, you can't be talking. I am. So I'm grateful that you're here. So thank you. All right. Happy flying, guys. It's just UAVFutures@gmail.com.